The National Emergency Management Agency said no fewer than 165 persons have died, 82 missing, and 119,791 persons have been affected by this year's flooding. NEMA, in its data dashboard on Friday, also said 138 persons sustained various degrees of injuries, 43,936 displaced, 8,594 houses affected, and 8,278 farmlands destroyed across 43 local government areas in 19 states. According to the agency, children and women were mostly affected. The states with the highest number of affected persons are Imo State, Rivers State, Abia, Borno, and Kaduna states. The Nigeria Immigration Service has issued an advisory urging Nigerians to use their U.S. visas responsibly and in strict compliance with the stated purpose of their application. This follows concerns raised by the U.S. government over the misuse of visas by some Nigerian citizens. In a statement issued on Saturday in Abuja, the service public relations officer, and that is Akinshola Akinlabi, said Nigerians holding U.S. visas must adhere to terms and conditions under which the visas were granted. The statement adds that all visa holders are advised to strictly adhere to the purpose stated in their visa applications. And away from that now, as group once of senior citizens' potential are being harnessed. Now, that's the Academy for Governance here. It has now tasked the Nigerian government to harness the experience of its senior citizens to accelerate the development of the country. Now, this was during the launch of the Academy's Veterans Special Program in Abuja, where participants at the program say that senior citizens can contribute immensely to achieving the federal government's development objectives. News Center's Aishat Salihu reports.
It was a gathering of senior citizens, youth groups, civil society organizations to deliberate on ways to help the nation achieve its development aspirations. However, one key objective of this special gathering was aimed at deliberating on ways to harness the potentials of the nation's senior citizens. Many of them passed their public service years.
We can only get it right when we tap from the wisdom of the veterans, because they've made all the mistakes on our behalf and they've done all the good on our behalf. And today, I believe Nigeria is standing where it is today because we are standing on their shoulders.
The role of youths are barriers of hope. Let us speak truth with boldness. Nigeria is not working, like I said earlier, not because of lack of talent or resources. Yet no national plan is complete without the youth.
For you really to be a great nation of good people, there are certain things you must do. You must acknowledge the role of fathers, the fatherhood of the nation, as those people between 90 years and 100 and beyond.
The Academy also launched its Veteran Special Program, saying that there is a need to mentor youth through value transfer and active leadership training. They say that this is key because Nigeria stands at a height as its current crop of leaders must meet the yearnings and aspirations of its youth, women, and vulnerable groups.
There is generation coming after us, children who are yet unborn. What kind of Nigeria will they inherit? Will it be the country still searching for identity? This is the question we should ask ourselves.
Our Veteran Special Program is designed to extinguish societal or aggregate community causes hit on the Nigerian society.
So we have to work together as partners. We have to work together as bridge builders. We have to work together to make our dear countries great. And we have to work together so that the children we are giving birth to will be great leaders of tomorrow.
With expectations high and time waiting for no one, the Academy says that senior citizens must accept the responsibility to nurture the next generation. This, they say, will help align all citizens with Nigeria's development objectives. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Away from the capital and now to Edo State, as the state governor Monday Okpelo has flagged off emergency palliative work on failed portions of federal roads across Edo North. The move aligns with President Tinubu's directive to rehabilitate deteriorating roads across the state. News Center's Amazing Bazwaye has the details.
The flag of ceremony held in Auchi marks the beginning of a series of road interventions across Edo North Senatorial District. The targeted stretch spans over 9.6 kilometers, connecting communities from Auchi through Igara, Ipeshi, Ibilu and Ikiraoke. Governor Monday Okpelo said the palliative work is a response to growing concerns over road conditions and their impact on mobility and economic activity in the region.
I watched in social media some time ago where I saw some youth demonstrating on issues on this Ibilu road. The road was so bad that you can't even move 2 kilometers per hour. Let me assure you that the government of today is government for the people.
Also present were members of the Edo State House of Assembly who pledged legislative support for the administration's ongoing infrastructural efforts. The rehabilitation of these failed portions of federal roads is expected to ease travel, improve security, and boost economic life across Edo North communities.
There are a lot of crime going on this road because of the vast nature of it. And I believe that if this road is constructed, there will be a maximum secure of security for us.
The road has been in a deplorable condition, and people find it very difficult to access the road. Distinguished Senator Monday Okpelo at Bakomiza has deemed it fit that the way the road is, he will not allow it to continue like that. We thank him very much.
And he's a man of integrity. It's not a failure, it's a winner. And that is why he quickly come to rescue us on this road. Because when we are passing this road, we used to be afraid of kidnappers.
Governor Okpelo emphasized the Tinubu-led federal government's commitment to ensuring better infrastructure for Edo people. He also visited erosion-prone areas, including the water tanker road in Auchi, promising a technical assessment and appropriate intervention. In Edo, for News Central, Ameze Bazwaye.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, there's plenty more. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, conflict, climate change and insecurity have uprooted thousands of families across Nigeria, with the north-central region bearing a heavy burden. In Benue, Nasarawa and Plateau states, internally displaced persons are struggling to survive in makeshift camps, far from the homes they once knew. Many of them, they fled their homes with nothing but the clothes on their backs, and some have been in the IDP camp for more than 3 years. Humanitarian agencies are calling for increased support and long-term interventions, but for now, the cycle of displacement continues. Joining us now is Sam Agor. He is the convener, Benue Open Governance Society. He joins me for more on the humanitarian challenges in the north-central region. Sam, many thanks. We appreciate you for coming on. Let's just start, shall we? Is this purely about violence or insecurity, or would you say that there are deeper long-term factors that are at play here?
Well, every narrative here counts. It's violence, it's insecurity, but principally, even when you talk with the IDPs and we that are on ground, we know that there is more to this. It looks more like an agenda to grab the lands of the indigenous people and settle on. And because obviously when these people come attack, they settle. They stand their feet, they make it impossible for the locals to come back and continue their livelihood activities. And even when the locals attempt to go back, there is a chance of you may not come back or you come back in a very bad shape. So every narrative here works, but principally it looks like an agenda that is well structured, that takes the tone of violence, of criminality, but principally land grabbing is the issue here. A lot of us have cause to suspect.
Now, we've seen people living in camps for years. Why is it taking so long to, resettle or reintegrate them?
Well, as somebody who is on the ground, working with media and civil society organizations and even the IDPs themselves, I can tell you that the conditions are not safe for any IDP to return. Mark that very clearly. You have to return people where a situation arises that there is safety. Because a lot of people have made efforts on their own to get back, and some never came back, and some came back brutalized or maimed or something happened. And I think this is where the synergy between the state and federal government is very key. You cannot, look at the IDPs, when you speak with them, they are even more keen to go back. But how will they go back? Who is guaranteeing their security to enable them go back? Incidentally, they are not even bothered about whether they are assisted to go back or not. They just want to go back, even if it means they will go and be living on trees. They are good, but the conditions are not right. Because in Benue in particular, we have a very sad situation where the hoodlums or the bandits or the terrorists or the militant headers come, attack, go back, come, attack, go back. And now sometimes they attack and don't go back out of the ancestral lands they have taken over. They attack and go and stay on the same lands of the people, waiting to attack again. The conditions are simply not okay, even though I must agree there is a significant level of effort at the moment in terms of trying to clear the hideouts of bandits and that. But as I speak with you, the conditions are not safe. Yes, in a few places also, conditions have improved and there is some bit of movement. People have actually gone back, but we can look at that as too beautiful a success story to rely on. Generally and significantly, the conditions are not yet safe.
Right. As we're talking about conditions not being safe, what then should what should support look like for these displaced persons and displaced families? And are they actually receiving it at the moment? And if they are, is it enough?
Well, nothing can be enough for a displaced person. Because remember, you had your home, you had your livelihood, and you are disconnected. There's a total dislocation. You are uprooted from your ancestral base of residence or of business, and you're somewhere. So certainly, nothing can be enough. But I must say, the Benue State government and a lot of volunteer efforts have stepped up. Fairly, there's demonstrable evidence that a lot is getting to the displaced persons. But remember, there's a curious thing you need to know. Most displaced people don't stay in camps. They stay with host communities, with relations, with friends. So sometimes there is, what is assistance may be targeted more at people in a camp setting, not in community settings where they are living with some friend or some good person that chooses to take them in. So certainly not enough, but I bet you there is that for those of us that follow it, the Benue State government through SEMA and a lot of volunteer efforts have stepped up and a lot is going on. But remember, that is not what is key. What is key here is conditions being okay for people to return. And remember, it's not just to return. Because the institution of government, the government has failed to protect the people from being displaced in the first place, we must ensure that if any IDP is to return, he or she must return with some bit of dignity. He should not return to go and start from zero. That is why currently There is some bit of effort coming from the United Nations systems in Nigeria with the state government and other partners to ensure some bit of housing. But let me tell you quite frankly, there should be, even if the conditions are right for return, we will be injuring the people, we will be making them psychologically depressed if somebody is to return and start life on his own. You must return in dignity. You must be empowered to return and at least forget about so much of the pains you've been through in the moments of your displacement.
I have to ask you, right? I mean, as we're expounding on, the government's shortcoming, whether at the federal or state level, you talked about how, sometimes it's hard to even reach out or know the exact situation, the IDPs are in, because sometimes they don't live in the camp. They stay with, extended family and their properties are in the camps. And so it begs to ask the question in terms of data. How then do you, round them up? How then do you, support them in a way that is, unique to each individual when it comes to data-driven solution?
Well, you remember two levels of support are here. The central one at the level where government tries to collate and reach the displaced persons. That's one. There is also another component, which is the most significant of it, where individuals and organizations on their own, sometimes without recourse to government, go to try to see how they can give some support. But I think data is gotten from the fact that people that are displaced, at point of displacement, are urged to come and register. I know there's a process with non-governmental organizations to profile the displaced persons. Largely also, they are profiled even in the host communities they live in. But I cannot tell you the data of IDPs. I have never even agreed with it, because, for instance, there are people that don't even want to be known or somebody reminding them they are displaced. They don't even want to be called IDP, so they quietly move on their life. But I think these interventions are coming back. For me, the intervention, sorry, I may be a bit controversial, giving people food or mattress or something is not what is key. I expect the federal government, with this renewed effort, get at this hideout, clear the whole spaces. Because Benue has a very unique and peculiar problem. Because the attackers on Benue come from a particular direction. They come from a particular area in the other state. That is Nasarawa state. So the point is, there has to be a collaboration both between the Nasarawa and state government and the federal government on the one hand. Give a marching order that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, let all these places, nobody should stay on a land that is not his. That is the key issue. So even if you give an IDP all the food in the world and he's even comfortable, I mean, it's not it. His livelihood, he doesn't earn. He's not productive. So that is the key issue. So I'm appealing to the federal government, take this thing much further. We know where these people come to attack. So why is it so difficult to clear up the whole place? That is what is the key issue.
Yeah,
that might have been
Sam,
what you noticed.
Right. I mean, I think data is also important as well. If we're talking about breach of data, that's a completely different conversation. We know that Nigeria has somewhat tackled with, privacy issues over the years. But I think data is also very important, because that's the only way you can, structure the solutions better. I wish we had enough time to continue, but very quickly, I just need you for 30 or 45 seconds. If this issue of, the violence continue to persist and the IDPs the numbers continue to grow, what kind of long-term impact could it have on the region? Very quickly.
Well, already the food production, or like in Benue, the food basket status of Benue is significantly threatened. We don't think this may persist, because practically as a guy on ground, I can tell you a lot of efforts have been made in terms of, at least even in places where this is not totally off, the incidences, the frequencies of this attack is reduced. We just only hope this doesn't go any further again beyond what it is, and people get back. Yes, I can tell you that already right now, the food production is hampered, and we don't want that situation to happen again.
We don't want it, indeed. I must say thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time to join us. Sam there, Agua, just giving us a bit of insight following the internally displaced crisis happening and also the violence in the North Central. Let's switch gears now away from Jos, and this time to Edo State, back as the Edo State governor has flagged off emergency palliative work on failed portions of federal roads across the Edo North. Now, we know that this move aligns with President Tinubu's directive to rehabilitate deteriorating roads across the state. Now, we had a report earlier filed in by Amezi Bazwaye, who is a correspondent, and she joins me live now on standby to give us a bit of insight following this renovation work. Thanks so much for joining us. Amezi, just help me and give us a bit of insight. How do the people feel about this emergency palliative work that's happening?
All right, so what I'm trying to say, a lot of residents in that area actually really excited. It's been a difficult past few months for a lot of residents around Audi and, of course, parts of Edo, Igara and Ibilo Road, which connects several communities in the region, has actually been in a terrible state. It's now seen as a hotspot for crime, especially kidnappings. A lot of persons were complaining about bad road conditions, but now it has gone into serious insecurity concerns. Over 15 people in the last few months have actually been kidnapped along that stretch of the road. Some families have had to pay ransoms running into millions of naira. Recently, I think back in April, one of the victims of that scenario was a Labour Party ward leader, Valentine Oluwajoba, in Akoko Edo area of the state. Now, according to reports, there was a ransom of about 50 million naira was actually demanded for his release, and partial payment was even made, but still he wasn't released. So this all led to series of protests in the area. Of course, angry youths came out and they demanded that government should actually come to that area and settle the issues that they are facing. They demanded action, especially urgently, when it comes to security in the area. Many of them say they feel abandoned, not just because of the insecurity situation in the area, but also because of the bad roads. There's also erosion in the area. It's massively destroying people's homes, it's destroying roads, it's destroying farmlands. And it has actually sacked a lot of people from their homes. So basically what the Edo State Governor, Monday Okpolo, did by going there was just flag off emergency work, emergency repair work, palliative measures on that particular stretch of the road. It's about 9.6 kilometer stretch of the road. He also said that despite the fact that the road is a federal road, the state government has to actually come in and, of course, do some palliative work to, of course, ease the plight of residents in that area. Aside from the road repairs, he also talked about the engineers actually commencing work on the erosion sites in that region, which is quite a lot. In fact, in the entire Edo State, we have that issue. We have a lot of gully erosion sites across the state. So it's a welcome move, and many residents are hopeful that these promises will not just be short-term solutions, but of course it will lead to temporary fixes, basically.
You for that, Amezi Bazwaye. She is our correspondent from Edo State there, giving us a bit of insight as the governor embarks on palliative works on emergency, or rather on the federal road network at the Edo North, following the directive from the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You're watching News Now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, there's plenty on the other side. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. Now, in line with the recently amended timetable by the River State Independent Electoral Commission, political parties are holding their primaries today across all 23 local government areas of the state. News Central's Biola Festus, who has been tracking the process, joins us now from Ward 1 in Port Harcourt local government area with the latest updates. Biola, great to have you on the news. What's the latest right there where you're at?
Thank you, Judith. I'm in one of the wards in Port Harcourt local government area. Now, one thing that stood out while we were earlier at Ward One is that APC and PDP threw up a consensus candidate. The candidates that they presented for their councillorship happened to be a member of the PDP. But they said it was in agreement with the APC. So APC agreed on this same person, PDP as well. So it looks like the two political parties are having a tea party to have thrown up a consensus candidate, because I particularly asked them, can we call this a unified primary? Can we call this one primary between both parties? They said yes, because the community has agreed, and so the parties agreed. We also came down to Ward 19, and the process is ongoing, and we have a PDP faithful right in the standby who will tell us how their own process has been or what we expected. Okay, so please come on. In Ward 1, we saw PDP and APC in agreement. Are we expecting to see same here in Ward 19?
This is Ward 8, not Ward 19. And I'm not of this ward. Why? But again, because this is where the local government is elected. So we're actually waiting for them to finish the one Congress, so we're going for the local government. So I also heard you talking about APC and PDP producing one candidate. I don't think that correct. This is PDP primary. APC have been clearing their own somewhere. In some areas, they came out to support, if the candidate is a popular candidate, most times it turns out to be no need for the fight, the support. So I think that's what you saw where you went to. But yeah, I'll tell you categorically, this is local government primary for the upcoming local government election.
All right, thank you for that input. But I particularly asked them if this was a PDP primary. They said yes, but they had both APC and PDP together at that gathering, whom have agreed on a candidate.
Yes, that was what I said. If came to support, because the candidate, the popular candidate, and love that the people. So only to stress themselves. So let's just support the candidate and each other vote themselves. Because I don't know how to match the primary PDP and APC in the same place. That's
all right. Thank you so much. So the primaries for councillorship, some words are rounding up, and they've also chosen those who would go over to the primaries for the LGA chairman to, of course, choose their preferred candidate. So we are yet to see that process begin. Judith?
To see how all of this will play out across all the local government areas and wards regarding the primaries. Biola, many thanks. Biola Festus is there, a correspondent from Port Harcourt, the capital of Rivers State, as the party primaries at the local level have kicked off following the announcement of local government polls slated for August 30th. Let's switch gears away from state matters, as the Police Officers' Wives Association has concluded its 2025 annual national convention in Lagos, held under the theme Unlocking Power Potentials and Transformational Leadership. The three-day event featured sporting contests as well as empowerment workshops and a vibrant talent showcase. News Central's Dashan Usman was there and now reports.
Lagos Convention brought together members of police families, dignitaries and government officials united by a shared vision of empowerment, leadership and long-lasting impact across Nigeria. Among the many stories of gratitude was that of Oluwatoyin Charles, a 24-year-old widow from Osun State who lost her husband in active service a year ago. Smiling through tears, she clutched her new industrial sewing machine, one of the many tools changing lives.
So I'm so grateful for this machine because it's my work. I'm fashion designer and bag making. So I've been craving for it since. And God used mommy to empower me. So I'm so grateful. I'm so happy, and it will really go a long way for me and my children because I'm young widow of 24 years. So I lost my husband last time. I have 2 sons.
Oluwatoyin is not alone. Dozens of women from different state chapters also received equipment and starter packs to rebuild and reshape their lives.
May Allah protect them from all the calamities that these workers face every day. Our husbands, may their soul rest in peace.
As I have collected this freezer, I'll start a business, mineral and pure water, code block, and God will put hand in it and I will excel.
In fact, God has given me the desire of my heart because the fridge I had in the house got spoiled 3 months ago. I didn't have money to repair it. So I thank God for today. In fact, this is answer to prayer that I've been praying.
National President of POA and wife of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Elizabeth Egbetokun, noted that over 3,000 women have benefited from the association's initiatives, receiving tools, training, and relief materials.
Once I see them, I have compassion for them. So, and then most of them, some of them they don't have anything to do. So I keep telling them, you cannot be idle. Look for something to do, and that is why we're here today. We empower them, we give them tools to use. Even if your husband is not alive, does not mean that you are a castaway. So get something doing, and I will advise them to actually use the tools wisely.
It's like giving back and trying to encourage them, because like empowering them now, they will have something to do.
As the convention came to a close, the message rang loud and clear. These are not just handouts. Each gift is an investment in resilience, dignity, and in the power of women to transform their households and communities.
With POA's unwavering support, these gifts are not just tools, but steps towards economic freedom for wives, widows, and orphans nationwide. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Darshan Usman.
Put a finger down if you have lived.
Ghana's President John Mahama says there is no place for xenophobia in the West African country, assuring that his administration is committed to the safety of Nigerians and their businesses. Mahama also restated his commitment to the economic community of West African states protocols, especially the free movement of persons and goods in the region. He stated this when he received the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, at the Presidential Palace at Accra. According to a statement signed by the Special Assistant on Communication and New Media in the House in the office of the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Magnus Ezi, on Friday, Mahama urged President Bola Tinubu not to lose sleep over recent protests against Nigerian nationals resident in his country. And off to DR Congo, where the country and Rwanda have held their first official talks since signing a peace agreement in Washington on 27th of June. Representatives from both countries met on Thursday in the U.S. Capitol, and they were joined by international observers to begin implementation of their discussions. Now, the accord, praised by the United Nations and African Union, promises respect for territorial integrity and an end to hostilities in eastern DRC, though concrete measures remain pending. In a bold, innovative step to curb wildlife crime, conservationists and scientific researchers in South Africa have developed a pioneering nuclear technology aimed at tackling rhino poaching. The breakthrough involves embedding low-level radioactive isotopes in rhino horns. Now, these isotopes are harmless to the animals, but can be picked up by radiation detection systems at borders and airports worldwide, making it easier to track, intercept, and also intercept illegally trafficked horns. South Africa remains one of the world's hardest hit countries by rhino poaching, with 103 rhinos killed in just the first 3 months of 2025 alone.
Done through simulations using our own detectors at Nexa. This is part of the technology development that we did to make sure that at a certain distance the detector still goes off and that the radioactivity so this is where we started. What is the minimum activity needed? And then we worked back to see if that is safe. And then we tested that to be safe in the animals last year. If you wrap it in a blanket and you put it in a bag, the radiation travels from inside the bag to the detector. It's not stopped by any of the materials. Therefore, if it's in the bag, it will go through the detector in the nuclear infrastructure, that security infrastructure that is already at the airports. It will trigger the alarm, and you will be found that you're carrying illicit radioactive material, which is worse than traveling with WARN, because now you are liable for trafficking radioactive material, which is carries the highest penalty that you can think of.
Poaching crisis is ever present, and one of the essential parts of this Risotope project is an active communication campaign so that we let all people on the reserves, in local communities, and cascading the information up globally to let them know that our rhinos are now radioactive, that they have a high risk by engaging in poaching activities of these animals, and that there is a high risk to transport these animals and ultimately have them in their presence.
You're watching News Now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we've got business and sports. Stay with us. And welcome back. Senegal's Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko has unveiled an economic recovery plan focused on reviving the economy with a shift towards greater domestic funding. The Economy Minister Abdurrahman Sarr says the West African country faces a deteriorating economy marked by a 14% budget deficit and outstanding public debt that represents 119% of the GDP. The Prime Minister declared that under the new economic plan, 90% of resources are expected to come from the mobilization of internal resources and without external debt. The declaration received strong applause at the Grand Theatre de Dakar, where it was revealed in a ceremony before members of the parliament, including President Bassirou Diomaye Faye.
Toute la trame de ce plan répond à ce besoin, à cette option forte de souverainiser notre pays, de faire des efforts par nous-mêmes. Nous ne pouvons pas, 65 ans plus tard, continuer à attendre le salut de l'extérieur. L'Afrique doit évoluer et le Sénégal doit évoluer. Depuis que les constats ont été faits, après les audits, tout le débat national tournait autour du FMI. Le FMI n'a pas décaissé. Est-ce qu'on aura un nouveau programme avec le FMI? Ce que nous présentons aujourd'hui n'attend rien.
Brazilians on Friday set fire to effigies of Donald Trump in protests across several cities, denouncing the U.S. president's politically motivated trade tariffs. Anti-Trump protests were held in Brasilia, Sao Paulo, and Rio de Janeiro, a sign of soaring ties between two of the America's largest economies. The demonstrations were modestly attended, but reflected broad anger at Trump's decision to put a 50% tariff on Brazilian exports and to sanction a top judge. The U.S. president has openly admitted he is punishing Brazil for persecuting his political ally, ex-president Jair Bolsonaro.
Soberania do Brasil. Nós entendemos que a imposição de tarifas sobre produtos brasileiros por Donald Trump não é mais do que uma tentativa de chantagem utilizando instrumentos comerciais.
A importância de fazer esse tipo de movimento, principalmente na frente do consulado norte-americano, é mostrar que o Brasil é soberano, o Brasil tem lei e o Brasil não vai se dobrar para fascista, seja dos Estados Unidos, seja de onde for.
The 2025 African Nations Championship kicks off today in Dar es Salaam with host Tanzania facing Burkina Faso in the Group B opener at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. This marks the first time the tournament is being co-hosted by 3 nations, and that's Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. The 19-team competition features only domestic-based players and serves as a build-up to the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Tanzania, backed by passionate local fans and an unbeaten record against Burkina Faso, aim to start strong. Nigeria's Super Eagles B, led by Super Eagles coach Eric Chile, will open their Chan campaign on August 5th against defender champions Senegal. Meanwhile, CAF has unveiled a new trophy design symbolizing unity and Pan-African pride. Well, good luck to the boys. And that's what we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. NEMA says over 119,000 Nigerians are so far affected by floods in 2025. The Nigerian Immigration Service has urged Nigerians to use U.S. visas responsibly. And we also told you that President of Ghana, John Mahama, says no room for xenophobia, assures Nigerians of safety. Now, do remember they can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Go TV, channel 23, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and you can stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Good afternoon.